Previously on
Previously
the
on
Terrible Adventures of the
Terrible
Janison Breakfast
Adventures
Parchment Company.
Company.
That's our previously on message from now on.
No, that was terrible.
We defended the company, and we saved the city.
We're heroes.
How do we keep this a secret and stay safe?
We may want to lie.
Idafa, your parents are waiting for you. You came home awfully late the other night. We're a little concerned about what you've been doing with your spare time.
I got a family to support. I want money. I want power. I want to bring back magic to this world.
That is quite a lofty goal that you have there, Frankie. If you feel so inclined, I can offer you a loan of sorts, and in return you can owe me a secret favor for the future.
It's lovely to see you again, Cassie. My name is Flinbar. I've just brought you a little something.
Oh, this is so lovely. What a fine gentleman you are. Could I possibly take you out for a nice meal? And you notice that there is an investigation report that Cassie has been filling out. A one-armed man has been taken into custody and is now awaiting questioning. Oh, we're going to have such a nice day.
I have a proposal which I think will be very interesting to you. I believe that the Janison Breford's Parchment Company would benefit greatly from a specialized group that is built to handle unusual situations.
And it does appear that through your failure, a dangerous criminal was vaporized. So I'm going to approve this proposal, but I'm going to need to see some positive results. And so, for now, life for the Janison Breford's Parchment Company employees goes on. Kia ora everybody, welcome to the Terrible Adventures of the Janison Breford's Parchment Company. My name is Penny D and I will be your Dungeon Master today. And if I was going to choose the apocalypse I would get to live in, I would pick Plants Takeover.
Oh, I like that.
Like the happening.
I'm Poppy. I play Ido, the Tiefling Rogue. And when it comes to apocalypses, I don't really care. But I really romanticize that idea of just living in the wild and living off the land. So whatever lets me do that, plants taken over sounds pretty good.
Hiya, I am Liz. I play Karen, our favourite dwarf barbarian. And if I had to live through an apocalypse, I would probably want to live through an alien invasion, because even if I die, I would have got to have met aliens, and that's pretty cool.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I play Flinbar, the Halfling Bard, and I would like to live through the apocalypse or the death of capitalism. Yeah, true.
Ooh,
Oh,
Very nice.
you're definitely trans.
My name is Stephanie. I'm playing Frankie, the human artificer, and I am prepping for a sudden economic collapse or a dirty bomb.
A dirty bomb.
Or an EMP, or literally any episode of Doomsday Preppers.
that's so good, that show, though. Oh.
I love it so much.
Alright, so it's been 1 week since we last checked in with our adventures. We open at the Prosperity Festival, a celebration of the Empire's health. A massive parade is the central attraction, and the tradition is to dress as monsters and throw coins onto the floats, symbolic of the creation of the tax system, civilizing the world. Food and attractions are all free, and it takes place in the center circle, an enormous park in the exact center of the city. The carnival and festivities are in full swing. Emperor Silver Tymenius is expected to make an appearance. How are you all enjoying the party and the carnival?
Well, Karen is having a great time. She's out with her husband and her 3 beautiful children. She has dressed up as a bugbear. In fact, they all have. They do themed costumes every year. and they're all bugbears this year, and they're all in different colours. It's extremely cute. She has spent a few hours wandering around the stalls, buying some knickknacks, swapping stories with her friends, and now she's watching the grand parade with her beautiful family.
Frankie would be there with his sisters. He has the youngest on his shoulders, propped up so she can see everything. They're just, all very excited, pointing at things excitedly, and,
What are your costumes?
Our costumes are just sort of a bunch of sort of rags. We're trying to be all like, maybe like woodland nymphs, and I'm a tree, and because, I'm so tall, but, it's all homemade, really cute, yeah, nothing fancy.
I'm glad to see you're not splurging.
No, no.
Idafer, how are you enjoying the festival?
I don't know if Idafer is enjoying it so much. He's being dragged around by his two parents. Let's just say their costumes are kind of recycled, so they've just found stuff at home. His mum is wearing like a potato sack, but it's got lots of colourful beads and things all over it. And his dad is only wearing a loincloth, which he finds very embarrassing.
What's
And
Idafer
he
just
has their cat whiskers underneath his arm.
Strews his dad's thighs.
Dad thighs. And Ido has just kind of put on like a hat because he doesn't really want to get into the festivities as much. He just kind of wants to be as inconspicuous as possible. And yeah, he's just kind of walking behind his parents' head down, wearing a hat.
You're inadvertently one of the most conspicuous people because almost everybody else has a costume on, and by choosing not to wear one, you've become very noticeable.
It's a political take on the current racism in the world and how tieflings are the underclass.
Exactly.
So I am dressed as a glorious red dragon and escorted by my good friend Cassie, who is helping me prop up, and I happen to be on stilts, so I am very tall. And I have functioning wings that I can flap aggressively, and I love it. And my dragon has a fat tail.
Very nice.
That's so cute.
So you and Cassie are walking around enjoying the festival, and you bump into another person dressed as a red dragon, and they're not on stilts, but they take their hat off and they wave up to you, and it's Murphy. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Flynn's good to see you, bud. Glad to see you're enjoying the festival."
First class, Murphy. First class. You too, buddy.
Hey, Red Dragon buddies, that's pretty awesome. I didn't think I'd see anybody else with the same kind of costume as me. That's excellent. I'll see you around, okay?
See you later, alligator. I mean, dragon.
You guys are just enjoying the festival. There's loud music. There's people laughing. There's people, swapping paper mache heads with each other and getting into the festival and having a good time. It's your pretty classic carnival. There's no big rides like Ferris wheels, but there's a lot of stalls. People throwing rocks at targets and one of those things to dunk a person into the water that the Janison Breathitt's company has set up, and Janison himself is, sitting up on the chair. Nobody's managed to dunk him yet, but he's having a good time. Y'all are really enjoying the festival. You're bumping into people that you know. Flynn, you win what for you is a really big teddy bear for your date, but unfortunately for her, it's a small teddy bear, but she still really appreciates it. And you guys are in the crowd waiting for the parade to come through. It's quite a party for everybody to gather coins and throw them onto the floats. Who is and isn't doing that?
Yeah, Karen will be doing that. It is tradition, and she loves a good tradition.
Same with Linda.
Frankie wouldn't be just because he's trying to hold his sister up, but his sisters are definitely doing. He's given some coins to his sisters to do that.
Ido's parents are going all out. Ido's not really doing much, but they're like, "Oh, come on, Ido, pop a coin on the float," and he grabs one off his mother and flicks it in.
To the south, there is a large unused platform that stands as part of the center field that the parade road goes through. It was once an execution platform for a particularly heinous criminal. As you guys are all enjoying the sunny day, and laughing and playing and having fun, a massive echoing thunderclap is heard, although the sky is clear and blue. One by one, the crowd's attention is drawn to the top of the platform, where a hooded figure is seen, holding a goose under his arm. His monster mask is a twisted, demonic bird with a trumpet-shaped beak.
Karen claps. She thinks this is great.
And
This is a good, fun time.
a deep, booming voice says,
You are all bugs beneath the foot of capitalism.
and the crowd begins to fall silent. The floats stop, and it becomes apparent that this is not part of the celebration.
I despise you for looking the other way on the plight of those trapped in the slums of this disgusting city.
Guards begin rushing the tower, and you notice a couple of Warforged begin to climb it.
Karen has slowly stopped clapping. She's realizing that this is
Not tradition.
It's not tradition.
You are not just insects. You are locusts, gleefully consuming not just your world, not just each other. You claim to prosper today, but you are stealing from your own children's futures. Your festival is a lie.
The crowd begins to panic. People are starting to back away from the two sides of the road, starting to cross over. People are starting to leave.
Well, I know what will clear your filth from this city. Insects. I know your natural enemy.
And with that, he tosses the goose from the tower. It shrieks and flails as it falls, unable to fly. Can everybody roll me a perception check?
12 for Karen.
17 for Poppy. I don't.
A 6 for Flimver.
12 for Frankie.
Okay. Ido, you are close enough that you have a pretty good view of the ground beneath the tower, and you see as the goose impacts the ground, it does not seem hurt, and instead, it multiplies. It splits into two identical geese. The guards are very confused and attempt to grab the two geese, but as they touch them, the geese multiply again into 4, into 16, and so on and so forth. Just every time they grab one, it splits into 2.
Oh,
Swords are drawn and swung at the multiplying geese, which only multiply further. The crowd, now in a full panic, runs as swarms of aggressive geese begin to outnumber the guards. What do y'all do?
Oh my god.
Karen immediately attempts to hustle her husband and children away from the center and back to their house. She's like, oh, it's time to go. I suppose that the guards will figure this all out. Let's get right out of here, darlings. Let's go. And she's going to hustle her family away.
Flimver's gonna say, oh my gooseness, it's time for us to leave, Cassie.
Frankie, Ida?
Frankie will little Emily off of his shoulders, gather up his sisters, and just try and push them, out of the way, so that we probably back home, or at least towards the direction of home, so that they're safe.
And Ido is going to grab both of his parents, because he can see this is not good, and just get the hell out of the way.
As you are all fleeing with your friends and loved ones, you begin to notice even more strange things. The geese are flying everywhere and bumping into things and splitting again and again, and the central circle is beginning to fill with honks and white feathers and flapping. And Karen, as you approach the gate exit to the central circle, a goose flies into a person in front of you, and as it touches the person, it multiplies again. But instead of creating two geese, one of them grows to a massive size, more than 20 times bigger than a regular goose, and it starts flapping and it throws you off your feet, and it's honking like an enormous monster.
Okay, are there any other alleyways or other ways out? Can she get her family into a building?
The central circle has 4 main exits. It's actually 3 circles, with the middle circle being open field. The next circle out is like a decorative forest and garden, and then the third circle is a kind of like a jogging track that goes all the way around. But there are 4 exits, north, south, east, and west. You live in the eastern district, so you were taking the east exit, which is now blocked by an enormous, monstrous goose.
Whack. I'm going to turn and try and get out the northern entrance instead.
Okay. As you turn and you shuffle your kids off towards the north entrance, you notice that the enormous goose, as do the rest of them, actually has something around its neck. It kind of looks like a bracelet. It's like a large golden collar with a shimmering gem on the front of it.
Is the gems similar to the gems that we have?
No, they're like not in shape or color. It looks like a fancy bracelet that's around the goose's neck. Flynn, as you're fleeing with Cassie, you pass by a handsome blonde man who Cassie waves out to and says, you sire, are you okay? And the heroic guardsman turns and says, oh, Cassandra, it's very nice to see you. Oh, hello, citizen. Please don't worry, this is going to be just fine. And he swings his sword, his beautiful, like, gem-encrusted sword, at a nearby goose, and it doubles again into 2 more geese, and he's kind of like, well, that didn't work.
Have you tried burning them?
That's an excellent idea, citizen. Let's see if we can rustle ourselves up some fire. And as he says that, a swarm of about 12 geese land on him and start flapping on him, and Cassie runs over to see if she can help.
I'm going to get out of my costume because it's quite cumbersome.
Fair enough.
But I'm going to keep the dragon head on.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try and subtly cast mend by touching a geese.
What are you mending?
I'm just going to try and cast mend on the geese to see if it goes back into 1.
Do you have Electrum on you?
Yeah. Always.
Okay, you touch the goose. Just a light touch and it doesn't split. It seems like only an impact will cause it to multiply, but nothing happens. Although the goose does react to your touch and kind of squawk and flap at you. It too is wearing a gemmed bracelet around its neck.
Can I try taking off... So I'm going to take off my dragon head and then put it on, top of the geese carefully, catching a startled bird.
Roll me a dexterity check.
That's a nat 1. Again.
You are making good use of that re-rolling that 1, but...
You'd think.
Is that a 3 including your dexterity modifier?
Oh, no. 7.
The goose does not want to be put into a small enclosed space and flaps at you.
Alright, I'm going to put the dragon head back on me then.
The goose does 1 damage as it flies sort of over you and scratches at you with its claws.
Oh, alright. Thanks for that.
Okay. Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
You are fleeing with your... Is it just your sisters or your father as well?
No, it's just my sisters. My father is too sick to come.
Okay. You're fleeing with your sisters, and you are heading towards one of the gates, and you bump into a person wearing a red dragon costume. And again, the head comes off, and you notice that it's Murphy. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Frankie, how's it going, bud? You doing okay? This is pretty chaotic. Are you all right?"
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just these geese, one of my sisters is allergic to goose down, so we're trying to get them out of here so no one gets hurt,
Oh, you know what? That seems great. I was wondering if you could do me a little favor, though.
Oh yeah, sure.
Hey kids, how's it going? I'm your Uncle Murphy. I'm a good friend of Frankie. It's nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, cool. They're scared, but they're excited.
Frankie turns and points at the nearest swarm of geese, who are currently not really engaging in battle, but are currently swarming a group of guards. And he says, "Hey, you see that? You see that there? That piece of jewelry that's around their neck?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that is a clasp of cloning. And you want to go grab that for me? You probably need to find the original one, but if you bring that to me, I would be happy to buy that from you."
How am I supposed to know which one's the original fucking goose?
Murphy kind of looks over and ducks as he's almost dive bombed by a goose, and he's like, "Oh, well, that is an excellent question. I'm gonna leave that up to you. You know, you smart guys. I'm sure you'll figure something out. I'm gonna get the hell out of here." And then he puts on his red dragon head and exits stage right into the screaming, swarmed, crazy crowd that is happening around you. You guys are all attempting to escape in different ways from the swarm of geese. Unfortunately, the amount of people that have made their way into the central circle means that there's quite a lot of bottlenecks, which are even then being harassed by geese. The east gate is completely out of the question because of the giant goose, so a lot of people are attempting to escape through the north and south gates instead. Idafa, you happen to see Karen through the crowd.
Just wondering, because I saw the original goose drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would I wouldn't have noticed where that goose went, would I? I was too flustered.
You don't know yet that you are looking for the original goose.
Okay.
You saw the original split, and the two that split from the original goose appeared more or less identical.
Okay.
With one of them immediately attacking a nearby guard, which caused that one to split further and further.
So I've got my two parents under both my arms, and I notice Karen and yell out her name. Karen!
Oh my gosh! It's Idafer! He's a work colleague. Let's go over to him. He is... I think it'll be safety in numbers, and she's going to hustle her little family over to Ido.
Well,
But, Mum, why does he have horns? He looks scary.
Oh, well, sometimes people look scary, dear, and they actually aren't. And that is what Idafer is. Sometimes there are people who can look scary and they aren't scary, and sometimes there are people who don't look scary, but they really, really are.
Yeah, Emerald, don't judge people.
okay. So, despite what you've just told them, I am running full throttle, looking a little bit terrifying towards you and your children. Holding these two halflings under my arms. They have no idea my parents.
Oh, are you saving citizens? That's great, Ido. It's good to see you here. Where are you? Where do you live, darling? Let's see if we can come up with a plan to get out of here together.
And from underneath your arm, the almost naked halfling looks up and holds out a hand and says, "Oh, hello there. It's very nice to meet you. My name's Bolo."
Oh, Bolo, I've heard all about you from Janderson. You play bowls together. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, that's correct.
What on earth are you going to do about all of these geese?
Well, I think we should leave that up to the guards and get out of here. Honey, I don't suppose you could go find Whiskers for me. He seems to have been lost in all the commotion. I don't know. He's not an outside cat usually. We're gonna have to find him.
I'm rolling my eyes and I put my parents down. Karen, do you think you and your family could escort Mum and Dad home while I go find the cat?
Absolutely. I've got an even better idea. If they go along with Barry, he's my husband. Barry, say hello, darling. And he just nods because he's very gruff and he doesn't say very much. If they go with Barry and my three beautiful children, and I will come with you and help you find this cat, and I'll make sure that you get home safely too. How does that sound, darling?
Perfect. Now let's go.
All right.
Nearby, Cassie is pulling geese off of the blonde guardsman. Flynn, you see Frankie leading 3 small children off towards one of the gates.
Since Cassie looks like she's got things in hand, I'm gonna be like, "You go get him! I'm gonna help over here," because I don't want to deal with the pile of the geese scruffle. And she's fine, she's huge. So I'm gonna head towards Frankie and catch up to him and be like, This is a mess, isn't it?
And Frankie's also like, oh, where did you come from? Like, jeez, come out
Oh
of
yeah, I take off my
nowhere.
dragon head so you know it's me, too. Little dragon.
A second red dragon runs up at you out of the crowd and takes their head off.
Frankie, is startled a little bit. He's not expecting to see two red dragons. He's like, thank God it's you. Man, I'm trying to get my sisters home. We gotta find the original Goose and take off the clone thing, and I must study it or, take it to a friend of mine who knows a little bit about some stuff.
This seems like a tinkering situation, so I'm glad I found you. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Oh, if you touch them gently and not give them a good kick or anything, they don't multiply. Just FYI.
That's good to know.
Got a tiny soft net in your pocket?
Cassie comes over and runs up to you, Flynn, and says, "Oh, Mooncloud! Oh, this is so very scary."
Oh, I'm right here beside you. We'll get this done together. Here's my friend Frankie.
Oh, Frankie, I remember you. You came to visit my town at the same time as dear Flynn here. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Cassie.
As you guys are exchanging pleasantries, a goose flies into the side of Cassie's head and splits into two geese, and she's like, oh, terribly sorry.
Oh, she apologized to geese.
And Cassie says, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you. It's my job right now to help the citizens escape from this area. So, are these children part of your group, or do they need help?
I need to get them home, but I also have to get these geese. Do you think you'd be able to help me?
Absolutely. Whereabouts do you live? Which district are you in?
So I'll live in the poor side of the East District, but not the slums. We're not slums, but we're not rich. 39th Street.
Hello, small children. Would you like a ride home? And she scoops up all of your sisters in both of her hands.
They would love that.
Do they know their own way home? Like, could they make it home without you?
Yeah, because I would have been like, you know where to go. Just show her. Stay home. Tell Dad. Lock the doors. Don't touch any geese.
Okay, bye, Frankie. And
Bye.
Cassie runs off with them towards the crowded South Gate. And as you guys are sort of standing there, unsure of what to do, you see Idafa and Karen approaching from the south.
I whistle aggressively at them. I'm like to get their attention.
I don't notice because there's lots going on.
Should have whistled politely.
Karen waves madly and rushes over, and she says, "There's magic afoot."
There's
And
geese
she
afoot.
tries
Don't
to-
touch them aggressively.
Yes, I've seen the geese. This seems like a job for the strike team, don't you think?
Yeah, who's the strike team?
Well, that's us, of course. I've given a proposal to Jansen regarding the future of our little team, and we've been having a lot of talks, and I'm trying to convince the board that it's a good idea to have a team within our company that can handle special and unusual problems, and I think this is a special and unusual problem that we can fix. What do you think?
Have you guys accessorized today, perchance?
Oh,
Yes.
Always.
I never take the pants off, darling.
Perfect. All right, now if we can do this, guards aren't watching, are they? And then Ido attempts to get his dagger out.
Yeah, you summon your dagger. Hang on. Yep, no, you're not seen.
Yay!
Not far away from where the four of you are standing. By the way, there are screams and flaps and all around you is just chaos. The festival has just absolutely gone to shit. And nearby you can see the blonde guardsman that you recognize from just after you were mugged in the forest. He's holding a big sword and he's jumping and swiping at geese as they fly overhead.
Oh my god. I'm gonna call out to him. Every time you touch them, they multiply.
And he turns back and he's like, yes, that's exactly right, citizen. I'm hoping I can exhaust their power. And he kind of runs over to you and sheaths his sword.
Mr. Cherish, it is so good to see you again. I doubt you remember us, but you saved us from a mugging a couple of about a week and a half ago. I'm sure you've been so busy since then. Now, you are doing a fantastic job. Is there any way that we can support you?
Ido's hiding his dagger, by the way.
Yeah, cool. He looks over at you and he's like, look, I'm a person who has an excellent amount of fighting skill and power, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't clean up this mess.
What about logic?
I don't follow.
Yes, I know.
And he looks over at the four of you and he says, you citizens look very capable. If I was you, I would try to escape from here. Although, he looks around and he can see all of his guards wrestling with ever-growing piles of geese. And he says, if you were to want to help, see if you can't find that scoundrel who started this whole mess off in the first place.
An excellent idea, Mr. Cherish.
It's Captain Cherish, but you're very welcome. In the meantime, I'm gonna see if I can't do something about these geese. And he draws his sword and he runs off towards where the pile of geese are fighting the guards. And he swipes his sword at a nearby goose. And Karen, something similar to what you saw over at the East Gate happens again. A goose splits into two, but one of them grows, not as big as the last one, but still considerably bigger than a goose is supposed to be, and erupts in flame.
Oh, I don't want to be anywhere near that. Let's go and find that man. She's going to turn towards the tower and start rapidly walking away.
Uzziah is now fighting some kind of fire goose as you all run off towards the south where the tower is?
Yes, the tower where he was up on top of and he threw the goose off of.
Awesome.
She's going to head towards that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm assuming I'm following.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also going to follow along. But I also want to, when I get a chance to get a non-flustered geese, try and gently again approach it and take one of the necklaces off it.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to roll me a perception check to see if you can find a goose by itself.
Okay.
A lone goose.
18?
Yeah, so
Perception.
on your way, you do happen to see a single goose. It is aggressively hissing and holding its wings up at some people, but it has its back to you. Roll me an animal handling check to see if you can successfully grab it.
An unnatural 20.
Nice. Okay, yeah, so as you're all watching, like the four of you are running, and Flynn kind of veers off, and you all sort of stop and watch as he carefully scoops up a goose without hitting it too hard, and undoes a clasp on the back of the goose's neck, and like the clasp that has a hinge on it. So once you undo it, it kind of clicks open, and as soon as it does, both the clasp and the goose disappear.
Haha! Logic!
Oh my! That was very well thought of. How the magic must be in those collars then.
To save time, should we just try and aiming at the collars? Or should we
I
try and gently wrangle some geese? 1,000 geese at a time. Instead of looking around.
One goose at a time. Well, maybe we should if we see any guards on the way to the tower, we should let them know, and that way that they can tell other guards, and then they can tell the captain, and then he won't be swinging his huge gem-encrusted sword around and making more geese. What do you think?
I think yes, but also, and then Ido's going to try and grab as many geese by the necks as he can that are around him.
Okay.
But do it gently!
Yes, gently.
1 second. Okay, nearby there are up to 8 geese. They are in different little swarms. Most of them are flying, but there are 2 or 3 that are currently on the ground with their wings out hissing at people.
Okay, I would like to try and grab 3. Do you want me to roll for that?
Yeah, you're going to need to grab 3 at once. You'll need to do animal handling with disadvantage.
Okay.
Just for grabbing 3 at once.
Try grab less.
8.
Yeah, unfortunately, you do manage to grab 1, but then when you're trying to grab the other 2, you let go of the first one, and they all turn their aggression towards you.
Yay!
Oh god!
What is your AC?
It is 13.
Okay. One of them tries to dive bomb you, and you manage to duck out of the way, and it continues flying into a nearby crowd to hassle them.
Okay, turns out that being rough with them probably isn't the best idea.
The geese that Ida dropped, can I try and strike the clasp to see if that, like, just the clasp, not the geese? See if I can kind of karate chop the class.
You want to try and chop a goose in the neck? Is that what we're doing?
To karate chop with my hand the back of the clasp to kind of tink, break it open.
Okay,
Crack a
sure.
goose in the neck. That's what I'm hearing.
Roll me an attack roll.
Well, the worst that happens is I get another goose. I got a nat one.
You
my
are
goodness.
so lucky that you're a halfling, the amount of nat ones you roll.
I build for my. I got a 17. What was I rolling against? Sorry.
An attack roll.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I got 21.
When you karate chop the clasp, as you have learned to expect by this point, the goose splits into 2 geese and attack you. You manage to run out of their reach, back to the party.
Frankie would like to take some stale bread out of his satchel that he always has, and just sort of break it up and try and feed it to the geese to attract the geese over to him, but still be distracted by the bread to not attack him.
Okay, roll me an animal handling check, and I'll give you advantage because you're using bread.
Oh, nice.
Although you shouldn't, chopped up lettuce and halved grapes are much better.
Yeah, that's true, but he doesn't have chopped up lettuce or grapes. That is a 17.
While they're still quite aggressive and seem confused, you do manage to attract 2 of the geese close enough to you that you could probably grab them if you wanted to.
Yeah, can I grab one of them gently? Goosey.
Kind of like a snake, to stop it from pecking at you, even if you pick it up, you kind of need to grab it by just below where its head is, otherwise it'll just keep pecking at you.
Mm-hmm.
You rolled a 17 on animal handling, so you've successfully managed to pick up one of the geese.
Okay, it's oh guys, I caught one! Can I fumble to try and take off the clasp? Because I can imagine Frankie's not graceful.
Okay,
It's graceful.
it's not... you're not stealing, so it's not sleight of hand. I would say this is just a straight dex check.
Okay. Dex is not what he is good at.
Relevant.
Oh, that is a 6.
As you're fumbling, you only have 2 hands, right? So with one hand you're holding the goose just below its neck, and then the other hand you're both holding the weight of the body and attempting to undo the clasp that is on the back of it. You kind of almost managed to get it, but then the first goose that it split from dive bombs at you, and in a fright you drop the goose that you're holding, and it attacks you.
Oh, jeez.
It goes to bite you, but you manage to shield yourself from being nipped.
This is Frankie. That's him.
Karen says, "Okay, that was fun. Let's keep going."
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's run towards this tower.
That they can do that and get that man.
Kia ora, Penny here. Well, we're into Arc 2, and things are only going to get crazier. I hope you enjoy the Infinite Goose. It was extremely fun to record. You may notice a change in sound during episode 7, as that's when the New Zealand lockdown ended and we started recording in person instead of over the internet. Hopefully it's an improvement, because it's definitely more fun being able to play around a table together. Usual credit goes out to Regan McKinnon for his creation of the show's theme song. Also, this time I want to thank Michael Gelfi for use of some of his sounds this episode. You can find Regan at facebook.com/porchrecording, and you can find Michael Gelfi at patreon.com/MICHEALGHELFI. Some really good D&D sounds and ambiences there. We're going to do something a little different for the break this arc. It's a giveaway. We're teaming up with our friends at Mindflayer Miniatures to give a lucky fan their own custom-painted D&D Adventurer Mini. Come to your weekly game in style with a hand-painted figurine of your character. And for those of you who don't use minis as part of your game, we've got you covered too. You can choose instead to have a digital art piece commissioned from Live Artisan Design. Get your character drawn up the way you want and show your friends what a badass they're questing with. To qualify for one of these delightful D&D prizes, all you have to do is tag our page on Twitter or Facebook and let us know who your favorite character from the show is and why. Everyone who does this over the course of Arc 2 will go in the draw, and we'll announce the winner during the next Smoko episode. Unfortunately, due to delivery restrictions, the mini will only be available in New Zealand, but the art can be delivered digitally anywhere in the world. As usual, you can like our show at facebook.com/Janice and Brefford's podcast or on Twitter at JBPC Podcast. And you can listen to the show on Spotify, Podbean, and hopefully wherever you get your podcasts. On with the show. The crowd is starting to thin out as more and more people are getting to the bottleneck. At the gates, there are really, really thick crowds of people, but towards the sort of center of the circle and towards the area that you're running to, the crowd is starting to thin out, and you're running around. There's lots of like discarded pieces of costume, lots of big paper mache heads and cloaks and things just sort of strewn around as people have discarded their costumes in order to move better. And you arrive over at the tower. There's quite a few guards fighting the geese, but as the geese have moved, the guards have kind of followed them, and there's a bit of a clearing space around the tower.
Karen says, excuse me, sir, as she bustles up to one of the guards.
The guard, who is a dark-skinned human, he's kind of got the point now. He's not so much attacking the geese as he is just defending himself with his shield and not impacting them. He turns around and he says, yes, citizen, what can I do for you?
If you take the collars off the geese, we've discovered it. My friend is very good at holding small animals. If you take the collars off the geese, they disappear.
He turns and he looks at you and he's like, okay, take the collars off. That's good to know. And he then uses his shield to pin a goose to the ground, and it does multiply, but he still has the original goose pinned to the ground. The other one just kind of springs off of it, and he's trying to reach underneath of his shield to undo the collar, but he can't see what he's doing.
Yeah, Karen will try and get under there and pull the collar off.
Cool, roll me a dex check.
I'm not fantastic at dexterity. However, that's a 16.
You get under there, you manage to wrestle around underneath and avoid getting picked. You find the clasp and you manage to use your fingernail to click it open, and suddenly the guard who's holding his weight onto the shield falls down as the goose disappears and lands on your arm. Oh, citizen, I'm very sorry. Are you okay?
I think so. Yes, thank you. There you have it. Goose is gone. Clasp came off. Bye. And she's just going to leave.
I will pass that on to the captain. Thank you for your service. And he runs off north, and then he sees the fire goose in the distance, and he kind of stops. You can kind of see the blonde man in the blue and purple armor, like, running away from it, and he's like, oh my god. And he runs off towards where that whole shenanigan is happening.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get to this tower. There is a person to catch.
Hopefully he'll still be up the tower.
You approach the tower. There are very few people still close by to the tower.
As she runs past all of the guards, Karen will continue just calling out, remove the collars, and the geese will disappear. And she's not stopping, but she's just calling out as she's running past.
A few of the guards are paying attention to you and are attempting to do so, but most of them seem to be fairly occupied with hissing, flapping, honking monstrosities that are attacking them and don't hear you.
Well, I did what I could.
Is there anything, can we see, like, are the doors open to the tower?
It's basically a platform. There's no stairs. It is a scaffolding with a wooden platform on top.
Okay, and we can't see the guy anywhere from where we are at the moment?
The tower is about 40 feet high. You can't see what's on top.
Okay.
But as you were approaching, you didn't see anyone standing on it.
Yep, Ido's going to try and climb up the scaffolding.
Cool. I'm going to take back what I said before. There is a ladder.
Yeah, I'll climb the ladder.
Okay, roll me an athletics check, and what are the rest of you doing?
Karen would also like to climb the ladder, nervously, because she is a dwarf and she is scared of heights, but she is determined. She told Ida's parents that she would keep him safe, and she's not letting him out of her sight.
That was an unnatural 20, by the way.
Oh, very nice. It takes you a couple of minutes because it's pretty high. Like, it takes you a minute, but you do manage to climb to the top of the scaffolding. There is currently nobody up there, but you have a pretty good vantage point from where you are now.
Okay, I'll just to kind of survey the area, obviously looking specifically for a hooded person with like a big bird mask on.
Yeah, roll me a perception check with advantage because you have a really good vantage point.
That'll be 21.
Nice. Okay, you kind of look over the park and you can see a giant goose, you can see the fire goose. Off towards the north gate, there appears to be some kind of like scaly demonic goose that is terrorizing people up there. There's also like once in a while, it's just full of white specks fighting guards, and once in a while you see one that appears to be not like the others. Occasionally you see one that is a bit larger and appears to have some kind of mutation to it. And as you are scanning East Gate, no. North Gate, too far away. West Gate, no. And you turn around and you look to the South Gate, and you just happen to catch a small glint, and you can see a person wearing a robe, exiting, like he's just made it through the bottleneck, and he's exiting the South Gate. He has that same trumpet-ended bird mask on, and he's running towards the slums.
Okay. I yell this information down to Karen, Flynn, and Frankie. Head for the South Gate!
Oh, well, you're coming with us, aren't you, darling?
Yeah, of course. One moment.
Karen is like halfway up the ladder, just kind of clinging on. She was feeling pretty brave and kind of got halfway up and got a little bit stuck. So she's going to get down with all haste and wait for Idafer to climb down as well.
Okay. While you guys, like during the time that Idafer climbed up, looked around and was climbing down, are any of you doing anything?
I was trying to gently catch more geese to take the things off.
Okay, roll me an animal handling check.
Determined to unclass them. Natural one again! Oh my god! I need to change my dice.
Yeah, let's all buy some new dice.
14.
During the time that you have, you catch 3 geese and remove their collars, but you also bump into 3 geese and create an extra three geese.
God. Okay, cool.
And you get bit
Oh,
for 2 damage.
okay. I'm now on 9 health.
Idafer makes it to the bottom of the platform. Where are you going?
South Gate, of course.
Yeah, running for that South Gate, man.
Because of the amount of time that has passed, the bottleneck is starting to thin out as people are escaping. But the downside of that is that geese are now also exiting the park and going out into the city.
Oh no.
Yay.
I guess we'll just catch up to the end of the bottleneck and just try and shuffle our way out.
As you approach the South Gate, you see a group of guards talking to a human with a clipboard. Are you going to stop or are you going to keep going?
I'm going to keep going. I don't care about these guys.
Cool. All right. So you make it, after a few minutes, you make it out of the South Gate.
I'm frantically looking around for that masked person with the hood. Can I see them anywhere?
No, it's been a couple of minutes since you first spotted them, but you know what direction they went. They went basically straight south into the slums.
I just, say, come on guys, who's going this way? Let's go.
Cool.
Yep, I will follow Idafer.
As Flinda runs past the people with the clipboard, are they the same people that were doing the magic item gate checks?
No, those were guards at the main gates. The person with the clipboard is just a really stressed out human who's basically screaming at the guards.
Okay.
So Idafer's leading the way. I would like you to roll an investigation check, and since you have 3 people with you, you can roll it at advantage.
Oh, okay.
Woohoo.
That's 15.
So you guys run basically directly south into the slums, down what is one of sort of the main streets. It's still fairly crowded. Once people made it through the gate, though, they weren't anywhere near as thick. They were just sort of everyone's running home. A lot of people went out the South Gate and then ran east. So you guys are running, mostly just ignoring the swarms of geese that have now made it out into the city. They're bumping into buildings and multiplying more. They seem mostly confused. Like, you wouldn't think that a goose would do that, but they are multiplying themselves through their own, I guess, incompetence, as much as people are doing it through attacking them. You run south for a bit, and just as you find yourself starting to get puffed and stop, you look to your left, and there's just a basic alleyway down there, but you see on the other side of some boxes, there is a person in a green cloak, wearing a trumpet-ended mask, huffing and puffing and catching your breath.
Cardio.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
run towards him.
Do you say
Yeah,
anything, or are you sneaking, or are you?
He
just...
looks pretty wasted, so I'm just running at him full speed.
Okay. As you approach, you hear a different voice than the one you heard the first time say, like, "It's okay, I think we lost them." And then they see you guys, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And then they fall. It's
So you mean
weird.
there were
You see
two
like
people?
you see like a strange kind of like struggling underneath the cloak, and then the figure just falls over.
Karen's going to grab for what she thinks are the ankles to try and stop them from getting back up again.
They're a lot smaller than you would expect the ankles of a person this size to be.
And she's gonna just kind of, if it's small, she's gonna see if she can pull it up. So she's holding whoever this is by their ankles up in the air.
Okay, you're now holding a gnome child by the ankles upside down. And the gnome child's like kicking, and they're like, "Hey, let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go!"
This is a child. And she puts him back down on the ground, but just kind of, instead of holding his ankle, she just kind of holds onto his wrists and says, I do believe we're going to have a chat, young man. Don't try going anywhere.
I grabbed the other one that fell over as well.
He was pretty
Like,
tangled
these
up
aren't-
in the cloak. He was like trying to get away, but have you ever tried to like get out from inside of like a duvet cover or something? Like it's pretty hard to do.
Yes.
So he's like,
In that case, can I just kind of grab the cloak, like bundle it up so it looks like a bundle?
okay, so you're now holding basically a sack with probably another child in it.
Yeah. And I gave it a poke and I say, Are you a little brat as well?
Let me go. I'm not a brat. You're a brat. Let me go.
Okay. Well, my name's Karen. What's your name, dear? And she's got like a death grip on this child's wrist.
The gnome child tries to kick you in the shin, but you sort of holding them. Your reach is a little longer than theirs, so when they try to kick you, you just sort of hold them out a little bit further, and they say, "None of your business. You let me go, or my boss will beat you up."
Oh, your boss will beat me up. Well, hey, wow. That's very scary, darling. Now, I wasn't a request. I need your name. And should I roll intimidation for that, possibly?
If you would like to, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to.
Scared little children.
Mm-hmm.
Naughty ones, that deserve it.
I rolled a 2, but I do have a +6 to intimidation, so that's an 8.
Okay, the child pouts and tries to kick you again and says, "My name's Poo Poo Pants. Let me go, you big dingus." And the one inside, the one that Ida is holding inside the cloth trap is like, "Yeah, good one, Truffle. Tell him your name's Poo Poo Pants."
Oh, so you're called Truffle, are you?
Truffle, was it? Now, it's a pleasure to meet you, Truffle. Now, can you tell us what you were doing with that mask?
Truffle yells at the other one and says, "Truffle, what are you doing? I was gonna trick them. Leave me alone." And tries to like kick at the cloth sack that Ida is holding.
I hold this cloth sack a little bit closer so he can kick it.
From the noise and the sudden lack of squirming that happens from inside the bag, you're pretty sure Truffle just kicked Tuffle in the balls.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ouch.
that'll show you. You guys let me go. We're just doing a prank, okay? Leave us alone.
It was a very scary prank indeed. Now, who told you to do that? Because I know that you didn't come up with that on your own, Truffle.
But I'm not supposed to tell.
At this point, I'd like to sort of lean in, because you said they're gnomes, right?
Yeah, they're gnome children.
Because Frankie speaks gnomish
Okay.
casually, and he would just like to, lean, like, get down on one knee, lean in close, and speak to him in gnomish, like, "Hey, I know you're scared, but, don't worry, you won't get in trouble. We just need to look for, your boss. Who's your boss?"
The child seems like kind of taken aback by the fact that you speak gnomish, and kind of like still trying to tug his arm out of Karen's grip, turns to you and says, "Look, we're not supposed to tell, okay? We're supposed to be distractions so that the boss can get away. That's what we're all doing, but you gotta leave me alone. I wasn't supposed to get caught. I just can't run very far with my brother on my shoulders."
Oh, I see. What was the name of your boss? What was that?
His name's Poo Poo Pants.
Poo Poo Pants, right. Okay. And I just told the group, well, turns out his boss's name's Poo Poo Pants. Obviously, it's completely true. This is the distraction, so we need to actually find the real people. Just let these boys go. They're not
Distraction for who?
distraction so the boss could get away.
Can you tell them that if their boss isn't caught, they're going to be done for handling magic artifacts, which is very frowned upon in this kingdom?
I've
Please.
heard that. Yeah,
He can understand you. And he kind of looks
Oh,
at you
yeah.
and he's like, I don't have any magic artifacts. What are you talking about? I don't...
Well, your boss, was dressed up just like you, and somebody would think that it could be you. Do you know what they do to young gnome boys in prison?
What do they do?
They give them spankings, and they don't get pudding.
But I love pudding.
No puddings. You will not be getting puddings for a very long time.
That is so
Never
not
pudding.
fair.
Yep, well, this is why you got to tell us where your boss went so that we could get him to not have puddings instead of you and your brother.
Especially when the whole town saw the person who released these magical artifacts in this one costume that you happen to be wearing.
Roll me a perception check.
Haha.
12.
3.
That dice is
It was a net
Blue
one.
lag.
19.
12 also.
You all hear an echoing thunderclap. Flinva, you can tell that it is coming. You're in the South District right now. You can tell that it is coming from west of here, and it sounds weird. Like usually a thunderclap is a loud, a loud rumble with some echo following it. It sounds distorted. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds off.
Did you guys hear that? It was coming from over there, and I point to the...
You all
Yeah,
heard it.
thunder. Of course, that's a pretty normal sound.
No!
Well, there was
One at all.
thunder before that man started speaking, wasn't there?
Yes.
Maybe that's
right.
him again.
I think we should go investigate and take these two ragamuffins with us.
Yeah, we needed
Oh,
to
I-
see something with these kids.
I don't think we should
I can
leave
put them in the
these-
bag of holding, but they might die.
I say we let him go.
I say we hand them in to get punished, unless they tell us more things.
You said they were hiding behind some boxes in the alleyway, right?
Just some crates and stuff.
Can we put them in a crate?
Yeah, you can put him in a crate if you want.
Before we try that, Karen's going to kneel down next to the one that she's holding and say, "Have you got anywhere to go, darling? Have you got a home?"
There's a place, I got a place to sleep, but people just kind of come and go from there.
Okay. Well, what we're going
We're
to
gonna dump them
do
off stuff in a box.
is we're not going to hand you into the authorities, okay? Because you've been very, very helpful. But what we are going to do is we're going to take you to a good friend of ours who's going to give you guys some nice warm food and some pudding, and we'll see what happens, okay?
I lean over
What
to Karen and
kind-
say, "Who's going to give them pudding?"
And she leans back and says, "I'm going to take them to Murphy.
Ah,
Oh my god.
If I pay him, he will do anything."
this is
He'll
true,
give
and he
them
does owe us all a favor. All right,
Yeah,
let's go.
he owes us a favor.
Well, I have in my notes that Murphy owes me a favor. So
Yeah.
Murphy does
Favorite.
owe you a favor. I remember that. Murphy's got his business in the West District, right, where we
That's
heard
right.
the thunderclap come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice.
we'll I'm planning that we'll drop them off at Murphy's, and then we'll keep going to find wherever that thunderclap came from.
Okay.
Is that okay with you guys?
yeah,
Okay, so you guys travel for a bit. You dodge a few swarms of geese that are now roaming the streets. Anyone who has somewhere to go is kind of hidden themselves inside at this point. Roll me a stealth check.
all of us.
Yeah, Karen with disadvantage because you're dragging a protesting child along with you.
Mine was a net 20, so 26.
Nice.
12.
24. I also got a nat 20.
3.
Okay, you're barely into the slums at this point. You're a couple of blocks into the slums. So as you travel kind of northwest towards where the districts swap over, there's a couple of points where a few geese notice you and go to dive bomb you. And for the most part, you're able to get away. Your guys' stealth is pretty good, like a lot of the time. But unfortunately, because Karen is dragging a kicking, screaming child along with her, she actually does take a few claws to the head.
Oh.
You take 3 damage worth of flap hits and claws. One of the geese tries to attack the child, but you actually like put yourself in the way. So you do take a few like nicks and scratches and bites and stuff from geese along the way. But eventually you arrive at Murphy's Honest Goods.
I will just open the door and go inside. Not going to bother on knocking.
Okay. You hear a voice from inside that says, hey, we're closed. We're not doing business during goose-related disasters. So just... Oh, hey, Karen, how's it going?
Oh, Murphy, it's great to see you, darling. How has business been? Has it been booming? I bet it has.
Oh, absolutely. You know how it is. Isn't that right, Frankie? And he winks at Frankie.
Yeah. Wink. But Frankie blinks. Like...
Hey, so listen...
While they're talking, I drop the kid onto the kid... Not super heavy, but kind of without a care. Just drop the kid on the counter.
Whatever you got for me here, is this some kind of... And he sees that it's struggling, and he's like, are you guys kidnapping kids now? What's going on here?
Okay, so I know it looks bad, but these two have been hired by whoever that horrible man was to create a distraction while he got away. And I thought, what better place to store two children who have fallen on the wrong side of the tracks and need a strong presence to bring them back on the right side of the road than Murphy's. Also, I will pay you for any food that they eat today. What do you say, darling?
Murphy pulls out, like, a bunch of handkerchiefs out from one of his sleeves, like a bunch of colored handkerchiefs all tied together, and hands it to the kid that you've been dragging around, and he's like, how's it going, little man? Do you know what a mule is? Have you ever heard of a mule?
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's fine, guys. Don't even worry about it. I'll take care of the children, okay? You guys like pudding?
Oh, pudding.
I knew I could count on you. All right. Have fun, boys, and good luck, Murphy.
Before you go, I actually bumped into Frankie back at the park when all the disaster was happening. That thing around the goose's neck, it's called a clasp of cloning. If you guys bring me the original clasp of cloning, I can make a lot of money out of that, and I would be happy to share it with you if you know what I'm talking about. And he looks down at the gnome kids and he's like, that's called business.
That's called business.
Do you have anything that can help us find the original clasp
Well,
necklace thing?
I've been looking for one of these things for a little while now. Unfortunately, I would give you something to detect magic, but because all of the goose clones are all magically created, I don't think it would be much help to you. The best way to do it would be to find the original goose, find the first one. Once you take the clasp off of it, it should get rid of all the rest of them.
Okay.
Right, that makes sense, yes.
It should do, but I've never heard of them creating giants or creating fire demons from just a simple cloning before.
Yes, that was scary. I think there's more to it than cloning. Also, if you do see any geese just wandering around, we figured out that if you take the clasp off of the geese,
The goose will disappear, of course, because it's got nothing holding it into existence anymore. What do you like? Who do you think you're talking to? I'm the guy that knows about magical items.
Murphy, I'm so sorry. I forgot who I was talking to. The person who knows everything about everything. It's you. And with that, I do believe that I will be taking my leave. And she turns around a little bit embarrassed. She thought that was real fun.
Oh, I'm sorry, Liz.
Murphy, do you have a magic net? A gentle feather touched net.
I mean, I have a regular net.
Can I have it?
Yeah, sure, I don't see why not. And he hands you just like a regular net. It's got weights in the corners. You can kind of just like throw it over stuff.
Thank you very much.
And he's like, that'll be one single gold piece.
Cool. Can we take it off the cost that you'll earn from our drug mules?
Hey, I don't deal in drugs, okay? I'm purely magical artifacts. Whatever you guys get up to in your spare time, that's so... Why would you assume I said drugs? And he looks down at the children and he's like, don't do drugs, okay? Don't listen to Flint. Don't do drugs.
Don't do
I don't do drugs. I give him a gold coin because I'm flabbed that.
Yep.
And he's like, a pleasure doing business with you. Do you kids like pudding? And the kids are like, yeah, we love pudding.
Oh, I like pudding too.
Come on,
Come on,
Frankie.
Oh, they're pudding. Never get pudding.
Okay,
Alright.
I think we're heading out now.
You guys go to leave the Murphy's Honest Goods, and you walk out into the familiar square outside the shop. Most of you have visited the shop a couple of times since the first time you left. And as you are standing there, kind of trying to figure out what to do next, two things happen simultaneously. Another thunderclap rings in, and this time you're fairly certain it's coming from the north. And the giant goose from the east gate flies over some trees and crash lands in front of you.
There's nowhere to run. Roll for initiative. Good, I think they're gone now. Hey, it's me, Poo Poo Pants. Yeah, and his brother, Poo Poo Pants. And we just wanted to say thanks for listening to the show. And you should feed geese grapes and chopped up lettuce and stuff, because bread's really bad for them. Yeah. Bye.